Got to talk about Faith Evans, man. I don't have my buttons today, man. So shout out to Faith Evans, man. You know, iconic singer, man. Bad boy. Biggie's ex-wife. Um, but she said in a interview, man, that Biggie gave her permission to work with Pac. Hold on, let me play this real quick. Fair use.
Not radio, not Radio Raheem. Oh no.
Hey, Raheem.
We gotta rewind. We gotta rewind a little bit real quick. When you think of hip hop and you think of, you know, the being competitive and all these different things, like, what was your mindset in the middle when they throw you in?
I wasn't. This is before all this shit is in real time. You know what I'm saying?
Right, of course.
I remember hitting Big and telling him I met your boy Pac. That was it. Pac had told me he wanted to work with me, which I was surprised at. Didn't know nothing about Pac being signed to Death Row. I just met him at the club through Tretch. You know what I'm saying? So the exchange with me and Pac had nothing to do with, in real time, it had nothing to do with what was really going on with Puff and Suge, which I knew nothing about until years later. You know?
Where's my effects? Like, what the heck? Like, how the heck do you say I didn't know he was signed to Death Row?
Yeah, that's straight cap because everybody knew
I didn't know
about the
until
vibe.
years later.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. What's your thoughts on Faith Evans still capping? It might be a little Richard. We ain't to have a drug. It might be a little joint, man.
I don't really know why she said years later. Obviously, when Pac died or Hit 'Em Up dropped, you would know. Like, that's not even a year later. That's a couple months later, right?
Facts.
So
she was on Death Row for 8 months.
Yeah, and then Pac shouting out Death Row all over these tracks, dissing Biggie. Obviously, she had to hear these, and if she's not, she's delusional or she just misremembering history. But like, part of me, like, I guess I can understand that maybe she went out there and met and didn't know, and that's why she made a song, because it's awfully weird that she went out to Los Angeles and whatever, made a song with Tupac when this was all going on, and especially when you're signed to a different record label, how are you going to get that cleared when you're a feature? So I don't really know if Tupac like planned this and just like he knew that the vocals wouldn't be able to be used, but he still planned it. He's infamously known for studying the art of war shit. So maybe this is where
you remember he called the LA Times to come out to the studio when she was there too.
Yeah.
So
they actually met on multiple occasions, and this is where, you know, one time she said, "Oh, Tupac forced me to do this and whatever and all that shit in her book and shit." But yet she goes and she meets Tupac again later in that month. It makes no damn sense. So I call cap on all this, and I broke down the history of this track, Hit 'Em Up a track, I think maybe episode 1, and also on Fresh Out, and there might be some other videos of me on YouTube talking about Hit 'Em Up track. So what actually happened was when they were hanging out, they recorded Wonder Why They Call You Bitch, right? For the All Eyez On Me album. There's an original version of that, not to be confused with a 94 version, which is unreleased and has different lyrics and shit. But there is an original version for the All Eyez On Me album that has her on the chorus. So they recorded that. Then supposedly they hooked up, and around that time, Tupac says, "Hey, I'm using the Dennis Edwards sample. Don't look any further for it. Hit 'Em Up." And there's a totally different version of the Hit 'Em Up song with different Tupac lyrics, different outlaw verses, and it has a new verse by Storm, which wasn't even on the final version. The beat is slightly different, and this was for the All Eyez On Me album. Tupac didn't even use it, right? So Tupac told her, "I'm going to do this song," and then Faith went back to Biggie and told Biggie about the sample, and Biggie made a version of Get Money remix. And Tupac got pissed off. So he said, "Yo, I'm taking that track back and I'm going to flip the sample again. I'm going to come out more potent, and I'm going to take that line you said about get money, and I'm going to say take money on my shit." So she's the whole reason why Hit 'Em Up was created. She's the whole reason why Hit 'Em Up came out. She's the whole reason why Hit 'Em Up had all that, you know, slandering of Biggie on it. And I don't think she wants to accept that. So she's trying every which way to get out from under the rock that she had any type of involvement in Biggie dying. You know, because, you know, Biggie getting caught up from Pac, a lot of people think it's connected. So, like, the whole Hit 'Em Up thing kind of transpired that.
Well, and this is the thing, Skandalous. It's been 27 years. Why would she not just say, "Hey, man, like, yeah, this was this"? and I did do this. Like nobody would care at this point, right? Like
I think it's because once you say lie, you got to keep covering up those lies, because then if you go back on it, you just look like a big sellout and a big liar. And
but there's too many
your whole
people
brand.
that there's too many outlets. You know, there's so many situations on YouTube, so many people on here that are basically saying that, yo, I saw her in there. We know this. We can go look at dates. You know what I'm saying?
The problem is, because if she does that, then people like me, well, not even me, will pick her apart on this and blame her for Biggie. I think that's what it is.
So it might look like that Biggie's death was because of her dealings.
Yeah. So like, Hit 'Em Up was because of her. Tupac would never came out with that venomous version if she didn't go and try to steal Tupac's beat and shit, because Tupac told her she went, and then Biggie made to Get Money remix, and that came out, I think, maybe around All Eyez On Me, maybe a couple months. So somebody corrected me on that, maybe Power Ken. Yeah. But then Tupac came out with Hit 'Em Up a couple months later, around the summer, or, spring of '96, and that's really what it was. So if she didn't do that, that song wouldn't exist in the way it was, and that Hit 'Em Up would have been left unreleased from the All Eyez On Me album, the original version. If she goes and she admits it, then people are going to bring that up and say, hey, why you go out there and do that? Why have you been lying about it? You're just as much as blame as Tupac, for Biggie's death now. So,
Well, and this thing, she's moved on. She actually married his producer, Stevie J, which is already even crazier. So it lets you know how she maneuvers out here. I ain't got my buttons over here. Mm-hmm. But again, at some point, I wish she would actually kind of solve some puzzles as well, because if her and a couple other people from the East Coast, Bad Boy, C's been out here capping a little bit, D-Rock's been capping a little bit to try to keep that Biggie legacy so they can get a check every year.
All of them
if they stop lying, we can actually get to some real stuff that was really going on at the time, because again, this next topic that we're talking about has a link to it, which is Puff. You know what I'm saying? And this is you look at what happened, but you have to understand the whys, right? So the why is, hey man, these dudes about to put us out of business. Mm-hmm. We're not even cool no more. So if there's no cool factor, we can't sell these albums. And this dude is killing us. So what we gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? And then you got this stuff that happened with her that wasn't even on the table. So now they got more ammo on the Hit 'Em Up. But the Hit 'Em Up is still venomous, like you said, to this day. And it starts with her, you know what I'm saying? They were already losing. So again, like I said, do
you think Hit 'Em Up would be as iconic if he didn't have that line about banging Biggie's wife in it?
No, because again, it started with that, you know what I'm saying? And then it started the whole rumor mill, because again, you didn't have the internet. You didn't have any kind of iPhones back then. This is straight rumor. So even if it was a lie, just like you said, that Machiavellian mindset that Pac had, which is, I'm going to use your woman. And you guys are already separated anyway. And at that time, he was with Charlie Baltimore, walking around with her, hanging with her. So
and
even with
bagging Lil' Kim.
And yeah, of course. So at the end of the day, like I said, one day, hopefully, all these people who kind of keep Biggie on a certain level, and of course, he has respect, but they keep the lies going, not Big or anybody else. Because again, that night that he passed or he got shot, he was going to see Heather Hunter and Janet Jackson. Let's be 100. There was a lot of key situations that were going on, but it started, or at least the fuel to the fire was his Faith Evans situation. And Pac used it, man, as a hot poker to stab everybody at Bad Boy Records, man.